Hey Addicts, welcome back. I'm Josh.
I'm Michael.
And today we got another TV show for you. And this is going to be talking about Final Space.
The Final Frontier.
Yes. It does take elements of Star Trek. But we don't mention its name because of copyright issues.
Yeah, exactly.
This is a animated series that came out, I believe, last year. I saw it when it first ran, and I just recently got Michael to watch it, and we wanted to do a review for you. So giving you kind of an idea of what this is about, it's centered around this character named Gary Goodspeed, and he is a prisoner on a ship called the Galaxy 1. And we get to see him living out his sentence until he meets a mysterious creature that he later calls Mooncake, and they become friends. And this kind of leaves Gary on a path of saving the universe from Final Space.
Final Space.
So I'll give Michael it over for characters, if you can remember all of them.
So I probably can't. This is kind of a weird episode or series length because it's 10 episodes.
Yeah.
But you have the Gary or Gary. He's kind of your main character. He's your he's an interesting individual. He's got some personality traits that are the worst and some that are good. We've got Avocado and Little Avocado. We got but they're a family of bounty hunters, I guess is the best way to describe them, and you get to know more about their past. We got Supreme Commander, who's kind of the antagonist of the entire show, and he's pretty short but pretty deadly.
And he's also voiced by David Tennant.
There you go. And then we have Quinn, who's kind of the savior of the galaxy, and
I guess best Galactic Ranger?
I guess, yeah.
Or that's not what they're called. They're called Infinity Guard, I think.
Yeah,
so.
Who cares?
Whoops. I got Ratchet and Clank on the mic.
But yeah, and then we have Gary's dad, who we get to see a little bit of, and best voice actor in the show.
Yes, Ron Perlman's such a man.
So those are kind of the main characters, and you get a couple more robots. You have kind of like the AI system in the ship. I don't know if they give him the name.
Q,
yeah, that's right. And then you have one individual that is a vehicle of hate for Gary.
Yeah, Kevin. He's it's so funny too because he's supposed to be like an insanity counselor or a sanity counselor.
Yeah,
and he's like the worst at his job.
And you get to see also the assistant of Quinn, who is quite a character.
Yes.
Weirdest voice acting of all time, but it's pretty funny.
Yeah, I would say, I guess getting into some of like our favorite parts and stuff like that, the characters are something that I think just really screams just likability of the show. They're very varied, they're very likable. They each have very wild personalities that are a little bit different. And it's at times it feels a little bit improv-ish. I think that was mainly in their writing room. So it's I don't know. It's just got a lot of cool elements from Sci-Fi that I really enjoy. You can kind of see where they've taken some inspiration from, but they go ahead and make it their own too, which is something I really enjoyed. I think the most solid thing about this show is its storytelling and its comedy. It lands both of those pretty well, but they do have some good action in it as well that I enjoy.
Yeah, which is kind of interesting because the main character doesn't engage too much in the action because he's not very strong in that way. As far as for me, what some of my favorite moments, I was just thinking about it. There's a lot of comedic ones. There's one where his name is Trigun, is that right?
Tribor?
Tribor, yeah, that's his name. Trigun's an anime. Tribor, where he's informing Quinn about like something disastrous happening, and then Quinn is kind of relaying information back to him, and he's just trying on her clothes. And you get to find later on how that like factors in, but that moment was just great because it's like what?
There's a lot of moments in I think the first episode that I like too. You just kind of get to see the ads for the show. Like there's one scene where Gary is going into this bar and he sees Quinn, and he wants to impress her. So he thinks the best way of doing that is impersonating as an officer of the military. And so he goes into the bathroom and actually takes a uniform off of one of the pilots there. and it's just the way he does it is so classic.
Yeah, and you get to see like how that situation escalates into him being a prisoner on this ship, and I really like that as well. As far as action, I really like the interactions between Mooncake and the Gary. They're kind of. That was an interesting thing because you get to understand what Mooncake is, but at the same time, like you can't make yourself leave him behind, kind of thing, because they're so part of the crew. And then you get to see. There's one scene where Mooncake's in like an arena with a bunch of different monsters that he's fighting, and it's pretty hype. I really like. That's probably one of my favorite action scenes, along with a couple scenes with the Supreme Commander when he has his full power. So
I also love the action scene that doesn't matter at all, where they just run into a room, guns blazing, and there's nobody there. But there's so many good comedic moments that it's great just to watch that for alone. But it's also great in the sense that it actually has kind of like a dual tone, especially towards the end of the season. Because at the very beginning, you see that it's like, oh, this is a very lighthearted comedy, kind of space opera type show. And then it kind of turns into a more serious and depressing, story as it unfolds. So I really love the storytelling. It's got some compelling elements that I'm curious to see, what secrets lie ahead that they haven't told us yet, especially concerning the end threat.
Yeah, the end of the season is very open, I guess is the easiest way to say that without being super spoilery. So it'll be interesting to see how they bring that back. Thinking about other moments that I really enjoyed, I really liked. There's some fourth wall breaking that's like not super apparent, not Rick and Morty style where they have like super easy to tell. But for example, in that scene in the prison. As I was watching, I was like, "Oh, I know this is gonna go this certain way," and then the character's like, "Yeah, it was obvious. We knew it was gonna be like this." He's like, and then the what the Supreme Commander says in that scene is great too. So I really like that element of the show as well.
Yeah, because they're not afraid to take steps that I guess you wouldn't see coming, or to do like Michael said, kind of do like a miniature fourth wall break. And there's a lot of moments that, in terms of like a storytelling standpoint, I know you really enjoyed it too, where they have the ending of the season showed at the beginning of each episode, and they count it down based on how many minutes of oxygen he has left. I think that's a cool way of just building up to that moment. And it leaves a lot of mystery because you're seeing it kind of unfold. And there's, I think, one point in the middle of the season that you're like, oh, is this the scene that we see at the beginning of each episode? And it's like, nope. And they save it for the end, which I don't know. There's just so many elements that I want to talk about, but I don't want to say it too much because they're great to experience when you watch it.
Maybe we could do a speculation episode after this.
Yeah.
And talk about that.
Yeah, because as we're recording this video, Olin Rogers, I believe, is close, if not already done, writing the script for Season 2, so it is happening. We don't know exactly what time. I think they said they're shooting around 2019 as a release, so I'm really excited for that. One of the things I wanted to highlight, kind of getting into our final thoughts and rating, is the voice work in this is really great. Olin Rogers, if you don't know, he's the creator of the show. He has been a YouTuber for a long time, and he has a good range of stuff. I mean, he comes from a background of doing, stories and skits, and his voice acting in this, I think, is on par with the other big names in this. And we also get, speaking of big names, we get, I can't remember. I think it's like something Kenny. He's the voice of SpongeBob. He actually does the voice of Kevin. We get David Tennant. He does the Lord Commander. You got Ron Perlman, who does Gary's father. So there's a lot of good big names in this, and you can really see it shine through there.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the voice acting, which is kind of surprising because you don't. I mean, on the professional side, you expect them to be great voice actors, but for the creator of the show to actually do a voice and do it well, I think that was a good element to the show. So.
Yeah, and I don't really, after like seeing it in action, I don't really see anybody else doing it because that just screams like Olin Rogers.
Exactly.
Such a character.
So what's your rating for the show?
For me, I think it's really great. The first season doesn't have a lot of things that I dislike about it. There's maybe just really minute things, and it's more so maybe just continuity. Or maybe just reasoning behind certain characters' actions. But, overall, I think it's a great story. It's got great characters. There's a good balancing of action and comedy and then the more serious tones. So for me, I think I'd have to give this first season an FFA. I think it's really good, and I'm looking forward to the second season.
Yeah, I agree with most of the points that you made. I did like the show. The cast of characters, for the most part. I mean, there's one character that's supposed to be annoying, and he was. So... but I'd probably have to give this a gotta have it. I'm interested in the story as someone who's more of a fantasy than a sci-fi kind of individual as far as TV shows or books, comics, all that goes. I did really like the sci-fi elements of this show. I liked the characters. I liked the antagonist quite a bit. Hopefully we'll get to see more of him in season 2. So yeah, that'll have to be my rating for this.
Alrighty, well, you guys heard from us. Now it's time that you guys go watch this. This is the perfect time to go watch it because I think on TBS you can watch all of the episodes until October 23rd. So
Yes.
if you want to go binge watch it real quick, highly recommend it. And do expect us to be back for, like Michael said, a speculation video or season 2 when it comes out. But anyway, guys, that'll conclude this. If you want to check out our other content, please look at our channel, or you can look at the links down in the description if you want to check out our other accounts or our podcasts. But we'll just see you guys next time. Later, Addicts.
Later.